To most, the beauty of the palmaceae, commonly known as the palm tree, is a sight to enjoy. But unknown to the common person is the havoc they cause when not native to a specific environment. Most palm trees reach 20 to 40 feet in height and weigh over 10,000 pounds. To remove this non-native species from a waterway can pose an interesting mission.
My name's Ken Krause. I'm one of the pilots with Black Hawk Helicopters. Our mission today is to take out palm trees out of Tecolote Canyon in San Diego. The city of San Diego has contracted with several companies to facilitate the removal of the palm trees.
The location of today's mission is 10 miles north of downtown San Diego. Tecolote Canyon, it's a state preserve, protected for its sensitive wildlife and scenic hiking trails.
My name is Kimberly Davis. I'm a biologist with Helix Environmental Planning, and we're here in Tecolote Canyon observing the removal of non-native palm species from the area. And the non-native plant species in this area will often outcompete the native plant species. And in turn, as we reduce the number of native plant species, that in turn reduces the number of native animal species. In addition to that, the palms can be a problem because as they populate and grow, and the trunks are massive, they can actually choke and clog up the waterways, so that when we have major rain events like we've had recently, it can be a problem and actually cause flooding.
Tecolote Canyon is over 6 miles long and serves as the drainage to the surrounding community. Very little heavy equipment is allowed in the canyon in order to preserve its historical habitat. So moving one palm tree that weighs over 10,000 pounds is not an easy task. Now, imagine 150 trees. The only way that this can be done is with Black Hawk Helicopters UH-1H Huey. Each tree will be cut into 4 sections. Each section will take the pilot 2 to 3 minutes to fly to the drop zone. The lifting capability of the Huey is 4,000 pounds. If the pilot were to exceed the load weight, he will endanger the entire crew. The Huey's been fueled and the pre-flight's complete. Saddled in, the pilot is prepared for his 7-hour mission. There are 3 planned fuel stops. Each will be about 15 minutes, just enough time for the crew to grab a bite to eat. Completing the mission safely and efficiently before dark is going to be an entire team effort.
That's 3,000 pounds.
On site, there are 5 helicopter support staff, 2 tree riggers, and 1 city inspector, 1 environmental monitor, 1 runner, and 7 ground crew.
5 on the ground, release, you're clear.
To maximize the efficiency, the crew has chosen to use a steel cable-style choker to grasp the load. With each load only taking 2 minutes to transfer, it's important to ensure the chokers are rigged well ahead of the helicopter. For this, the ground crew has pre-rigged over 50 loads before the crew arrive. Once the helicopter brings a load into the drop zone, he's guided in by a ground crew member to ensure the area is safe. At the given signal, the pilot will release the load. It's now up to the crew to clear the trees to make room for the next load.
Why don't I have him come here for one, and then I'll have him come back to you. Give me a little more time. I got one that's ready, and then I'll turn it back over to you. 800, because I'm not sure. I might have more than one. Let me get over there.
Each load must be trimmed and cut by saw and then placed in the container to be hauled to the dump. Now up to this point, the crew has already hauled away 4 containers full of tree clippings. It's an hour into the lift and the pilot is catching up to the riggers. Due to the recent rains 2 days before the lift, all of the pre-rigged trees have been moved due to the flooding in the waterway. Many of the loads have now moved in such a way that the rigging cannot be reached, and this is delaying the process that the ground crew never expected. Dodging through the poison oak and dreading through the rough terrain, the ground crew has got it bad. From the air, the pilot, he's got the easy job, or at least he makes it look easy. A veteran pilot knows all the techniques to shave every second off the clock. It's now 3 p.m., and darkness is approaching. There are still over 30 trees left to be removed. The crew has worked non-stop since 8 a.m., and up to this point, the pilot has logged over 150 loads. Each load has been averaging over 3,000 pounds. But on the middle part of the canyon, there seems to be a problem. The pilot is attempting to pick up the tree base, and it won't move. He's pulling all the torque available from the turbine, but still has to be careful not to put too much stress on the line. If you look close, you can see the tree is cut into 3 sections. The biggest factor on any job with a helicopter is weight, and as you burn fuel, you can replace it with load weight. The Huey holds 208 gallons of fuel.
Another 3,000 pounder.
And it consumes, or shall we say, drinks, 90 gallons an hour. That is nearly 600 pounds of fuel per hour.
10, 5.
It may not seem so, but as darkness approaches, the pilot has fuel for one final load. With less fuel on board, he decides to take a full tree that weighs in right at gross weight. Any abrupt control input will cause the helicopter to settle into its downwash. This could cause a significant problem for the pilot and the crew at the drop zone. But just like before, the load is settled perfectly with room to spare. It's been 2 days and over 13 hours with more than 220 loads, and the job is nearly complete. There's been no accidents and no injuries, just another successful mission. Just how we like it.